Rayne Tunley, you are the president of the Canadian Society of Painters in Watercolour.
Yes, that's right.
Yes?
Canadian Society of Painters in Watercolour.
Let us know more about this society.
Société Canadienne Aquarelle, SCPA of Canada. So, yes, the Canadian Society of Painters in Watercolour is the most important national society in Canada representing watercolor. There are other societies, of course, which are of equal importance, but this one is the one that represents watercolor specifically. So the Canadian Society of Painters in Watercolor was founded in 1925, and many members of the Canadian group of 7 were part and instrumental in forming this society. And the society was formed to create a camaraderie, a venue for other watercolor artists.
Okay.
Now, a lot of these group of 7 would take watercolor equipment and paints up into the northern areas of Ontario and Canada. They were very, very hardy people, you know, battling the weather elements and the mosquitoes, the bugs, and the canoes and so on. So watercolor equipment in itself was very transportable. They could carry this reasonably easy. Like when you look at the equipment that they had in those days, it certainly wasn't as portable as what we have today. So the Canadian Society of Painters in Watercolor, and as we shorten it to CSPWC, it extends from coast to coast to coast. Canada is a very large country, so this coast to coast to coast involves provinces like Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, all the way across Quebec, Ontario, Saskatchewan, Alberta to British Columbia, and all the way up to the Northwest Territories. So we have about 350 elected members and about 150 associates. And elected members are people who have been accepted into the society at a certain professional level. So they will have had to have their work either accepted into our annual Open Water International Exhibition 3 times within a 10-year period. That way they have been granted membership automatically, or they have to present 6 paintings into a juried process where other CSPWC members would be coming in and jurying them. And so it's a quite, you could say it's a kind of a grueling process. Okay. Yes, it is. I became a member in 1993, and I remember, oh my gosh, but you know, it is quite a powerful thing when you do become elected. You know that you've joined others with like minds. An elected member is able to put the CSPWC initials after their name. It's very much like a diploma accolade where they could put their name, CSPWC, and whatever other initials they might have. And it's recognized internationally as a very important step within your artistic watercolor career. We have also associates, 150 associates, and these associates, can become part of the society to a level where they can be part of what's going on with some exhibitions, be part of what's going on with our artist talks, etc. They cannot put an initial after their name. However, they can find a mentor. And What I've noticed with the CSPWC in particular is that it's a very caring, open-armed group of people who, encourage other artists to find
their way.
Find their way. That's the best way of putting it. To find out. To help them bring what's within. Very few of the. It's not a place where people are.
Only painting. They are working to step up their way of painting.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So the aim of the society, which our earlier members, which actually some included our war artists as well, we're very, we have great honor for our past members who had gone to war and taken their watercolor paints and came back to Canada, describing visually what they had experienced. So the aim of the society is to recognize, encourage, and nurture the excellence of the work in the watercolor medium. So initially it was very traditional, and we still promote the traditional approach to watercolor. We are now also moving towards more explorative approaches of using watercolor. The mediums are changing and growing, and so are we. So we alternate our international open water exhibitions, whereas one year we have a focus primarily on the traditional, and the next year would be the more experimental. We do not include acrylic at this point, so it is strictly the watercolor medium. However, in those more explorative approaches, we could mount our watercolor paper on canvas, we can varnish them and that sort of thing. So it's like how far can we push the medium while still remaining a watercolor? And then we have the purists who the white is the watercolor paper, and then we're building up through that from light to dark.
Yes, that's something we can see, this explorative way of painting. We can see that during the exhibition in Avignon during these coming 2 weeks. We can see some traditional painting, but also some new way of painting. We can see artists are thinking another way to play with watercolor. That's very interesting to see.
That's right. And with this exhibition here in France, which we'll talk about in a minute, when we had the jury for this exhibition, we had it as the explorative approach. So that opened up more opportunities for people to enter whatever their heart desires in the way they approach the medium. We are very, very honored to be part of this exhibition with the Society of French Aquarelle. I know that's not...
Société Française d'Aquarelle.
Merci. The SFA. And we feel we have a great camaraderie, great similarities in the way we approach and our passion, for sure, of the watercolor medium. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. We also really enjoyed having the SFA come to Canada, and we were open-armed to exhibit their works as well, and give them an opportunity to see a little bit of the Canadian way of life through a 3-day event like they are presenting for us here. Now, it's been a long time since we have exhibited here in France, twice before in the earlier years in the 20s and up around Paris. So this is the first time down in Avignon, and first time in the south of France, and the first time in a long, long time. So this makes this a very historic exhibition for us, and we're very proud to be a part of this.
And so I think we are proud to have all these talented artists in France right now during this trip and this exhibition. Thank you, Rayne.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rayne.
It's been an incredible pleasure.